chat, we are ready. Here we go. Sparkover with BeatMania IIDX Infinitas. Don't forget, for a $20 donation, you can request a song for Sparko to play. Sparko, what is this Bear Beast block? I want to see this.
So there are 4 songs in this game that have, well, all the games have music videos, but some of them have some bears in them. And they're very good bears, and they're very special bears, and I'm very happy that people have donated for this block to happen. So, thank you for that. Other than that, hi, I'm Sparkover. We're going to play some BeatMania IIDX. I am half asleep, and I don't know how I'm talking, but you know what? That's okay. We're going to have fun. It's going to be beautiful. And I am joined here with 2 very lovely commentators. So I'm going to kick it off. I have a very traditional first song marathon, but I will be happy to get the bear block going right after that. So I'm going to be on mute for most of the songs, so you don't have to worry too much about all my tippy-tappies. But hi, carry it away, commentators. Let's go.
Alrighty, so for those of you who don't know us, my name is RFL Cold Cuts. With me tonight on the couch is Shinji16. We're kind of some old heads in the BeatMania community here, so we're going to be commentating.
Indeed. And again, talking about us being old heads, one thing that we've also done over the years is we've worked really hard to make sure that this game is as accessible as it can be. So, if you're in chat and you're wondering, what in the heck is this weird thing I'm seeing on stream, please don't be afraid to ask any questions. And also don't forget that we are all here for a wonderful cause, helping out Happy Bear Lives. So don't forget to donate if you're able. But again, thank you all so much for being here. Let's vibe to some awesome tunes, hit some buttons, and have a good time.
Yep. So for those of you who don't know, this is BeatMania IIDX. This is the home version of the client or the game, which is called Infinitas. And the way that this game works is very simple. You'll notice that there are colored lines following very quickly from the very top of the screen towards a red timing bar. When those lines overlap with that red timing bar, Sparkover has to press keys and or scratch a turntable in time of the music. The white or gray notes represent the white keys, blue is for the black keys, and red notes are for the turntable.
If you're familiar with most other music games, like, Guitar Hero, Rock Band, or Dance Dance Revolution, it's pretty similar. Line goes over target, do thing on controller. And speaking of DDR, this is actually part of a collection of music games Konami has put out called the BeatMania series. The only one that's really taken off or has prevalence outside of Japan is DDR, or a Dance Dance Revolution. But thanks to Round 1, and also thanks to the community, so to say, these games have been building more and more of a fan base in the Americas and outside of Japan otherwise.
Mm-hmm. The other thing you want to pay attention to watching the screen is those graphs to the right. So that's going to represent Sparkover's score. That's the blue graph. The green graph in the middle is her personal best, and then the red is what we call a target score. And a target score can be anything. In this case, she's pacing herself against 92% of the total possible score in the song, and she appears to have beat it by exactly 1 point. So good job,
Nice.
Sparkover.
Yeah, and in talking about pacing herself, in fact, the technical term for it is pacemaker. It's actually one of the most useful tools in this game because, yeah, you can set it to a certain grade level. If you have a rival, basically another player in the game that you're competing against score-wise, or a more Japan-friendly feature, you can say, hey, set it to the highest score of players in my region. And it's a really nice tool. It's like an adjustable PB mark.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be kicking off the bear block here. Please pay attention to our beautiful little friend here.
Yep, so we're going to open up with Half Moon, which I believe is from 2DX Gold by Mitsuhiko Izumi. As an artist, they're mainly known for doing rock tracks on the Guitar Guitadora side of things, so Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania, but this is one of the really good tracks that they did just for 2DX, I believe.
And it's actually shocking because there's a whole bunch of, there's a lot of crossover in the BeatMania games, like especially in the earlier years of both Dance Dance Revolution and 2DX, a bunch of songs crossed over between those two games. But yeah, as Cold Cut was mentioning, Izumi, the composer for this song, is primarily known for their work in Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania, or still exclusive to 2DX. Over the years, there's been some songs that, oh yeah, this was originally just in 2DX, and then it eventually shows up elsewhere. But yeah, almost 2 decades later, this is still just in 2DX, despite being a straight-up rock track.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, especially for the sake of the block, it's got bear.
Yep.
It has bear.
And the tune is hardly unbearable either, so we got that going for us.
But yeah, talking about you're right, Cold Cuts, in that it was from Gold, and would you agree that like Gold was kind of an adventurous version of the game? Like we had a lot of crossovers from games we weren't expecting, songs like Half Moon that were like not in the normal style for 2DX, because 2DX is mainly like techno and electronica, and this is just a straight up rock track.
Exactly. And it's also worth noting that Gold was also at one point going to see a US release in arcades. They actually did have a completely translated, well, I should say almost completely translated version of the game that you and I actually got to play back in 2007. And it was really cool to see this game in full English, and we wouldn't see that again until the 27th version of the game when DJ Troopers finally came out. Or not DJ Troopers, excuse me, Heroic first. Oh god, my old man brain is striking again.
I was about to say.
But yes, it was very adventurous, and of course the probably was also known for having a very famous license track on it in the form of Ghostbusters. And already Sparkover pulling off a very impressive personal best. This is a lamp up, this is a grade up, this is a score raise. So achieving all three in a marathon. So fantastic job, Sparkover.
Thank you. Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, anytime that you see that on the right when we're in the middle of a song, anytime you see blue bar higher than green bar, that's PB.
Yep. That is on pace to beat their personal best.
So that's 1 down and 3 to go in Bear Block.
Not this one, the other one. I always confuse these two songs for some reason when I'm looking for them.
Yep. Although this is Akira Yamaoka, so, it's... And there's a lot of really good Akira Yamaoka songs, so it's one of the last songs they did, I think, for 2DX as a series, and just Konami in general. But this is also worth noting that this is the same Akira Yamaoka behind Silent Hill, so if you weren't aware, they actually are very gifted musically, and they can compose some really cool music tracks.
Yeah, I actually first became aware of Yamaoka thanks to his work in BeatMania, and then later found out, oh, that's also the sound director for Silent Hill. And yeah, some of their music in 2DX is what you'd expect. It's either on the rock side, or it's kind of like upbeat techno, and then you have like some really like just honestly weird tracks, either weird vocals or weird music videos or both. And this is definitely more
this is in the weird category.
And most importantly, Bear Song, and it's educational. If I remember correctly, the genre for this is educational, according to the game.
I don't know, man. I don't think it's flying too high in that regard.
I mean, they're definitely teaching us about sunflowers and how sunflowers get broken down into bears and or rabbits. I mean, that seems educational to me.
I mean, if that's how it really works, then sure. But the other thing we forgot to explain, you'll notice that there is a kind of a moving bar gauge beneath the keys and turntable icon here. That is the group gauge. It's going to start at every song at 22%. As Sparkover plays notes correctly and with good timing, the gauge will begin rising. The goal is to get that gauge into the red, which is 80% or higher by the end of the song. If she can do that, then the song is considered cleared.
And it's worth mentioning, and this is often a kind of a stumbling point for a lot of folks that are first checking out 2DX, because many newer music games tie passing or failing with your grade or your score. And in 2DX, your grade is completely separate from your pass-fail. You can fail a song with a AAA, you can pass with an F.
It is 100% possible in this game. And Sparkover cashing in with a very impressive AA clear on this, so good job, my dear.
That shirt is technical. That is a very good 8, though, and thank you. I don't remember where Future is Dead from, so we're just going to go alphabetically for this one.
Well, we'll find out here once we hover over it, so...
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, that's Cannonballers, so there you go.
It was.
I love this song, but boy, the soft land on the another is annoying.
Yeah, it's something else.
Should I play the 11 just for the soft land?
Yeah, let's show off some soft land, just because we're talking about it.
So this is a level. Is when, Oh, go ahead. I'll let you.
So this is a level 11. This is another. This is normally the hardest difficulty mode that you can choose in the game. Songs are rated on a scale of 1 to 12 in difficulty, and it's worth noting that even if two songs share a rating, they're not all made the same, even at the lower levels. So you can have a 111 be much harder than another. Same thing with level 12s, any difficulty level. Now,
it doesn't help that after level 7, those jumps in difficulty are they're much more exponential than they are gradual increases too.
Yep. Now, this song is going to feature a BPM change, if you notice, and there's a BPM counter in the bottom middle of the screen there. When we refer to softland, this is a technical term that refers to BPM changes. So the more softland a song has, the crazier and more frequent the BPM and scroll speed of the song is going to change. The name comes from a older song in 2DX called Soft Landing on the Body, which just got foreshortened to Softland. Which soft landing on the body is notorious because the BPM changes were really not necessary because the song does maintain the same BPM if you actually listen to it and analyze it. But for some reason, they decided to just randomly speed up and down throughout the whole thing.
That's usually what softland gets applied to. Like if a song has a gradual BPM change or it doesn't really affect the difficulty of the song from a chart perspective, then it might be said, oh, it's got a BPM gimmick, or yeah, there's some BPM changes. But when the changes seem to be like just deliberately aggressive, just trying to mess up the player, then that's where the term softland tends to start getting tossed around.
And just like that, now we have the BPM slowing back down, so we had it briefly doubled, and now it's going back down and up. It's just kind of having this nice little seesaw effect. And Sparkover's doing her best to adapt to it as much as she can.
So we do have someone in chat asking, so blue over green equals PB, but what about the red? Yep, so the red, that is a customizable difficulty or pacemaker. That actual item is called pacemaker, so you can set that to be a specific score, or if you have a friend of yours that you are formerly buddies with in the game and you're score attacking with each other, there's what is known as a rival. So you can set that to be one of your rivals or the best rival that you have available. But yeah,
and
so
real
that
quick
red...
to interrupt, Sparkover just cleared that normally.
Excuse me, though.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt you. That is a very fantastic clear, my dear. Well done.
I'm just going to interrupt the very nice commentary that you're doing. Great, and say, what?
Yep.
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Yo, can I get some big marathon energy?
Y'all.
Can I get some big marathon energy in chat for that?
Yes.
And
That's not easy. That's a level 11, guys.
That's a lot.
And Kaya, thank you so much for that question, because fantastic question. And if anybody else does have any curiosities, please do not be afraid to ask in chat. Both Sparko, Colkitz, and myself, helping folks discover and get into these games is a huge part of why we stream and share them with folks.
Anyway, we will be rounding off the bear block here with... I have a button on my stream deck, so I can just spam it in chat, but please pay attention to this lovely bear here. And thank you so much for making the bear block happen.
So moving right along into one of the favorites, I believe, from Heroic Verse here, Virus Funk by Nato. This features a special type of hold note in this, if you notice. So there's hold notes in 2DX. You have to hold them not only at the start, but it also judges you on when you do the release. Those are what we call charge notes. But you'll notice that these charge notes look a little different. They have kind of like a reddish tint to them. That's because they have a Marathon unfriendly name. I'm not going to say it, but we call them in Marathon Heck charge notes. You can figure out from there what they're actually called. But Heck charge notes, or special charge notes as they're officially translated, have a different property to them where they have to be constantly held. And this is because not only is it for points, but it's also because this affects your group gauge. If you are holding a Heck charge note, it's going to continuously charge your group gauge. If you are not holding that, it's going to continuously drain your group gauge.
And up until, so it's worth mentioning that charge notes, in the relative scheme of things, are a new addition to 2DX. 2DX originally came out, what was it, 25 years ago at this point?
Yeah,
or actually, no,
1999 was when it first came out. So 25 plus years ago now.
And then charge notes were only introduced in 2DX Series, the 17th version of the game, which came out a little more than a decade ago. And then
charge notes and backspin scratches are the scratch version of that.
And then it was about roughly 4 or 5 years after that we got Heck charge notes in Copula, the 23rd version. So for folks that have been playing this game for a number of years, some folks even still have, years later, a lot of trouble with charge notes in general. So they are, while they've been out for almost a decade, it is still apt to say that they're a relatively new addition to the game because, as some folks might not be aware of, because, outside of Japan, BeatMania is, the oldest music game. It was the first arcade music game, period.
It's what started the trend. It's what led to the birth of Dance Dance Revolution and kind of the rest of Konami's music games and a bunch of other music games out there. And Sparkover, again, cashing in with a very nice double A on Virus Funk.
Amazing song, amazing video.
You have a brief
Fantastic.
moment for a donation.
We do.
Always interrupt.
All right, $40 from Scala Kitty with a couple requests: Gold Rush and She Is My Wife.
Oh,
Yes,
the best two
deliver
songs in the
requests.
game, my dear. All right,
And
so let's go
worth
ahead.
mentioning, Cubs, if you ever want to interrupt us because of a donation or an announcement, please feel free.
Yes, absolutely. Interrupt us, old men, because we like to ramble on and flap our gums a bit.
So, chat, just to get you started, I'm going to toss the lyrics for this into chat.
Yep. And chat, I expect you,
sing
Grandpa
along.
expects you to follow along with us. You just want to chant "Make It Make Money," and it's very easy to tell when this is going to happen here. So just listen to the lyrics, enjoy. This is another track from 2DX Gold, and it's become kind of a meme here in the rhythm game community on the Konami side.
Yeah, during the breakdown of this song, they list all the versions of 2DX up to that point. It's the tackiest and dumbest thing you've ever heard. It's also the greatest thing you've ever heard.
Yes.
And what did they do when they crossed the song over to DDR?
They switched the versions around to be DDR versions instead of 2DX.
And the same thing when they brought it over to Poppin' as well. This is one of the best and tackiest in-jokes in the community. It is amazing.
This is also worth noting that this was a boss song when it was first introduced in 2DX Gold. This was part of the VIP room extra stage system.
Yeah, I believe this was the silver VIP. This
Yep.
was the second boss song that popped up.
No, it was the first one because it was silver, gold, and then platinum. And then if you passed all three of them, then you would proceed to the black room.
Just when the final attack came first. I might be misremembering. I'm an old man.
Yeah. It's entirely possible.
But yes, thanks to Gold Rush, we have Michael a la mode, or Michael on a boat,
Yep.
screaming about Fish Isle.
Spark already working her way towards a very good clear right now. Very nicely done. Just shy of the double A, but still a very solid clear.
Heck yeah.
And again, that's one of two requests coming in via donation from Scala Kitty. And again, thank you so much for the donation. And again, to everybody here, whether you're able to donate or not, thank you so much for making this a part of your end of the week. Really do appreciate it, because this event would not be nearly as hype as it is if it wasn't for all of y'all being here. Thank you so much, everybody.
And also on the note of donations, even if you're not familiar with like the specific songs in this game, we love a good challenge. You notice how there are so many genres in this or themes? You can probably come up with just about anything, and if you want us to try and do our best to play with that, we will. So
I was
Even
gonna say,
if you
just
don't
ask
know the game,
Grandpa to
yeah.
give her a good challenge. I can come up with all kinds of technical songs and things that'll push Spark over to her limits.
And then in the other kind of technical and like challenges, like when I stream this game myself, some of my favorite requests that come in from chat are just like lateral thinking questions disguised as song requests. Like, what's a song that reminds you of thing that is totally not 2DX related?
So She Is My Wife. This is another meme song within the BeatMania community. This is another notable Softland track. You'll notice right now we're starting off at half the song speed, which is 85 BPM. I know there's some lore behind the song. I can't remember it for the life of me, but Superstar Mitsuru, the artist, he's did a lot of music and a lot of just the really kind of pop sounding, like hyper, sounding tracks that are honestly really good in 2DX as a series. And he's worked under a lot of aliases, but the one that fans know him best for is Superstar Mitsuru.
Now, for folks that haven't heard this song before and don't know why it's such a high request, pay attention to the video, starting right about now.
Yep.
Because those backup dancers, those aren't dancers. Those are other BeatMania artists and staff members. I don't know what blackmail material Superstar Mitsuru had on them to make this video, but here we are.
Yep. So on the right, we have Korusuke and Ryu. On the left, we have Yoshitaka and I believe LED. I think. I can't tell who that is on the far left. And then right there in the back, there's Taka.
But yeah, memes, especially for the video aside, absolutely solid song. And Superstar Mitsuru, while there was a lot of music under that alias, it's an alias for Tag, who quickly rose through the ranks and even became sound director for DDR for a number of years. But yeah, echoing Scala in chat, love this ridiculous music video. Yeah, like She Is My Wife, much like Gold Rush, is not getting old anytime soon.
No, this is one of those BeatMania songs that is effectively timeless because the fans love it. And already a major PB there, plus 152.
That is
very
huge.
Nice stuff.
It's my bedtime. What am I doing?
PB and 2DX, that's what you're doing.
And why that PB is huge, just to give an idea of the scoring, Flashing Greats, the ideal, perfect in this game, is worth 2 points, and a regular great is 1 point. Everything else is nothing. So
And I
getting
think Cubs,
150,
were you trying to interrupt us?
Huge.
Were you trying to interrupt us, Cubs? I think I heard you for a second.
I mean, honestly, I don't know this game at all, so I appreciate the explanations. We do have another song request. $20 from Yamini Florence, asking for an old Guitar Hero favorite, if available, through the Fire and Flames.
Unfortunately, not in 2DX.
All right, if not available, Runner's Choice for the song.
All right, Runner's Choice in. Well, Sparkover, then it's to you. So.
Well, what's a good Through the Fire and Flames guitar song?
Honestly, if you want something similar in terms of notes,
Yeah.
You know what I'm going to throw you? It's an old man song. It's Era Nostalmic's Another.
Interesting.
I was going to say for a Fire and the Flames adjacent song, I was going to say either Kaiser Phoenix or Rage Against the Usual. Those are the two that come to mind for me.
Up to you. I like my old man music. You know that.
Well,
'Cause
two of
I've
us
been-
both did suggest this one, so I think I'm going to land on this one. So sorry, Grandpa.
That's okay.
But it is interesting that you bring that up. Because Through the Fire and Flames did get licensed for Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania, which is a rock-focused game series that BeatMania puts out along with 2DX and DDR. If you're familiar with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, you're basically familiar with Guitar Freaks and Drum Mania. Just think that exact same game, except it has timing windows as opposed to just being combo-based. And it was out in arcades for roughly 5 years before Guitar Hero first came out in the US.
And to answer your question, Shadla, no. Like, this is just background art is what they do for this. So there's no lore, to my knowledge, with the boy you're seeing in this video. So no lore to pass along. No real things, I think, that we can really share that's interesting.
Not this time.
Yeah, not
there
this time,
are
at least.
some of the so when we're on the results screen in between songs, if Sparko gets either a AA or a AAA, you'll notice that there will be a character on that screen, usually making a dramatic pose of sorts. Those characters are the VJs, and there actually is lore for the VJs. And for some of the songs, even if the VJs aren't showing up in the artwork for the video, there are some that have recurring characters. So asking if there's lore on this video, not an out-of-place question, but
no.
Yeah, echoing Poltef, for this one, it is just kind of a one-off just for this particular song.
Yep, and there's your kind of nod, the kind of gimmicky section that we kind of equate to being equivalent to Through the Fire and Flames. So there you go.
But yeah, a lot of the VJ artwork is done by an artist called Goli, G-O-L-I.
Full name Goli Matsumoto.
And a lot of their artwork was prominent for the first few games in the series and kind of helped define the look that we're seeing in this video here. There are some videos later on that heavily divert and do their own thing, but this kind of pseudo high detail, lots of great shading and contrast, that's very much kind of Goli's signature, and it's something you'll see throughout a lot of the game in general.
Those VJs in the back, that is Erica, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
And I think you're correct on that. And again, Yami, thank you so much for that donation and request.
But yeah, plus 108 on the AA and a score raise on top of that. So good job, Sparko.
Thank you.
Lots of marathon PBs, just incredible.
I'm a little bit on it today, and I'm okay with this.
Let's say just capitalize on that big PB energy and on the big marathon energy.
Yeah, really. Let's play something silly.
Oh, lordy, this is going to be another Softland track. So this is Beat Juggling Mix. This is one of the Buzzra Arts or extra stage boss songs from Cinnabuzz, which is ninja themed. This is going to be a lot of speed changes, but also a throwback to 5-key BeatMania, which was the predecessor to 2DX.
So when BeatMania first came out, it was, well, as Kolkas just mentioned, 5 keys. And if you look at the video, you'll see some snapshots of that older interface. So when 2DX first, or BeatMania, I should say, first came out, it was 5 keys and a turntable.
With the turntable always on the right sides, just to point that out.
Once the series was proving successful, a new version of the game was made that had 7 keys. So that was BeatMania 2. And then there were some versions of the cabinet that were deluxe cabinets. They had lots of extra speakers and lights. They had a bass shaker that you stood on. Yep. Eventually, 2DX became the de facto game. In fact, BeatMania, the final, the last version of the 5-key game, was like, what, 20 years ago at this point?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. Yeah, 2003, 2004 or so.
So sometimes you'll hear folks talking about BeatMania, and it's kind of interchangeable for 5-key and 7-key. So if you hear us BeatMania boomers discussing, and we'll mention, oh yeah, I remember that from 5-key. Yeah, we're talking about the first version of the game. But nowadays, since it's 2DX is the active version of the game, saying it's BeatMania is, you know, perfectly accurate. But, you know, gotta love things that are confusing just for the heck of it, right?
Yep. It's also worth noting that there was a BeatMania 3 that was produced, which went back to the 5-key format, but added a foot pedal as something you could press and control during the game, as well as a floppy disk drive for saving scores. So kind of an early predecessor to the early predecessor to the cloud scoring system and save system that we have these days.
Yeah, can't forget mentioning BeatMania 3 without that essential floppy disk drive.
Yep. And it's also worth noting that there were some things on the BeatMania 3 cabinets that could only be unlocked by using that floppy disk drive. Very nice,
yeah,
my dear.
Yeah, it's a shame that that song has those speed ups and slowdowns that it does, because I'd play it more myself otherwise, because that song is a bop.
You know, I'm usually an enemy of Softland, but I kind of agree with him on that song anyway.
Cubs is asking if it was 5 inches or actual floppy disk, or the standard 3 inches.
I want to say it was 5.5, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was by accident, but let's go with it.
Oh, Caterpillar? Okay, we can do Caterpillar.
I'm never going to say no to Eagle.
Or we're going to just kind of instant drop, because, you know. All right, so we're going to start over here. That was a misstarts, which you can quick restart.
By speed, it was wrong.
Yep, so you can quick restart in the home version as well as on certain modes of play for the arcade version of the game. So if you realize you got that false start, you know, don't worry. You just throw the flag and do it over again, just like in football.
That is one of the nice things about 2DX and a lot of other BeatMania games at this point. That, yes, they are difficult to initially get into. They are a more difficult, you know, brand of music games. But over the years, there are all of these quality of life improvements. There are all of these menu options and customizations, so that anything that you could do to customize the game to be more in your favor, be it the scroll speed, the height of where your red target line is, all these other kind of options, you can really customize and tweak the game to be exactly as you need it. It's still a difficult game, but thanks to it being out for literally 2 decades at this point, we've also got all these quality of life options as well to help players do their best.
Yep. And on that note, for accessibility, one of the features that was added recently in Cast Hour, which is the 28th version of the game, if you notice at the very top middle of the screen, like if you're listening to a song and you're like, hey, I really like this, what is this called? It'll show the title of the song at the top, and then below it in the white text is going to be the name of the artist. So if there's any songs you really like and you want to listen to outside of this, just write down the songs and the artists, and you'll be able to find them through like a quick search.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it.
So this song is by Eagle. This is an alias of another long-storied artist in the history of the game by the name of Kosuke Saito, who's better known as Kosuke. He's done a lot of different genres, but the main focus of him is kind of that EDM or that hardcore beat, and that's exactly what you're hearing with Caterpillar. It's just a lot of just break beats, just a lot of hard techno and a lot of hard electronica.
Yeah, in the early days of BeatMania, talking about, like, you know, BeatMania, early Dance Dance Revolution, a lot of the times artists would put out a whole bunch of different songs under a bunch of different aliases so that it would look like, oh, this music game has a bunch of artists in it, just to conflate the artist list. But in more recent years, it'll be oftentimes artists will have aliases just because, oh, I normally make genre A. I want to experiment and do something under genre B. Let me make an alias for it so that way it doesn't seem like, you know, it's that jarring of an experience and I can more openly experiment. And I do see in chat we do have a reminder from Scala in regards to song requests. So if you do want to request something and you are able to donate for $20 donations, song requests are up for grabs. And again, if you're not able to donate, you're still here making us a part of your day. Thank you all so much, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this showcase because I know the three of us certainly are.
Yep. So Cranberry City featuring Lushel. This is a track from Rootage by Lapix. I believe Lapix got their start through the musicianship trial, if I'm not mistaken.
It might have been. I know that they initially debuted in Sound Voltex, but then very quickly got crossed over to basically everything.
Yeah, like Lapix's stuff, Lapix just had, like, there's hardly a bad song from Lapix. They got their start, if I'm not mistaken, in Cinnabus with Amazing Mirage, which is one of my favorite songs, and they just, it's all quality, everything they put out.
And yes, it is Amazing Mirage, because that is one of my top 10s. But yeah, talking about newer artists, that's actually something that's been a relative recent change, because for a long time, getting your music into BeatMania was a very exclusive thing. And in the past, like, 5 years, Konami has been a lot more lax on it in terms of inviting, like, one-time artists or one-time licenses, whereas previously it used to be a much more restrictive and almost exclusive thing.
Sparkover, keeping pace with what they're doing right now for score. Breaking about even right now, just past the threshold for an A. They're kind of bouncing back and forth with their PB right now, just watching the grass and watching their best.
Yeah, and that's also one thing that I always like celebrating, be it when it's someone else that's playing or even myself when I'm streaming. Like, because it's so easy to discourage yourself and be like, oh, I was so close to PB, but keep in mind, you're literally a single-digit percentile or not even that from what your PB was. That consistency, especially on a game as demanding as 2DX, where it's just, hey, do several hundred two-frame inputs a minute. Like, it's incredible.
There are just so many buttons to hit. How are you supposed to hit them all?
Okay,
The game tells you exactly what buttons to hit. How hard could it be? I mean, next thing you're to tell me this game doesn't give you tickets. Like, this game's easy.
Okay, I'm gonna need some help here for this one because I have no idea where this is going. $20 from Tayman. Do the song with the weird talking lion and the hot dog girl.
We know this one.
No clue what this is, but I am intrigued.
We know this one. This is Lion Suki.
Yup, sure is.
I know this song.
That's fantastic.
Chad, you are about to get to say hello to Carlos. Carlos is the name of the lion.
Yep.
And forgive me, Cubs. Who was the donor?
Tayman was our donor.
Tayman, thank you so much. So this is Lion Suki. This is like one of the defining songs of 2DX Night Style. This is another Akira Yamaoka track, and it's honestly one of his most recognizable.
So I'm going to recommend that we both be quiet for a bit. Earlier I was mentioning Yamaoka did some weird stuff. This is peak weird Yamaoka. Let's enjoy this. Yeah, peak 2DX right there. Much
Yep.
obliged for that request.
Yeah,
Classic.
it's AAA as well. Good job, Sparkover. So it's worth noting that AAA is the highest grade level you can achieve on a song. That is 8/9 of the possible score in a song or higher. And then from there, the letter grades, it just goes down. AA is 7/9, A is 6/9, B is 5/9, and so on and so on. So if you can get a full combo AAA, that is considered the best possible grade and clear status for a song. And then now moving back into Sign Up With Us.
I was just going to mention there was one other song in all of 2DX that had Carlos in the video, and here we are.
Yep, this is the other one, Snaky Kung Fu.
I failed because I was trying to turn my microphone back on so I could just yell, "Bring back my PFC lamp, you cowards," because they did have that in PS2.
I know.
Yeah, PFC, perfect full combo.
Yep.
Now, I'm actually not sure about this, so correct me if I'm wrong, Cold Cuts. A PFC in 2DX is considered getting all greats. They don't necessarily have to be all platinum greats, just no.
That is correct. Where it's only perfect greats or regular greats. You cannot get any goods, bads, or true pours. And there's a difference between a true pour and what we call an excess pour. Unlike other rhythm games, if you press a key when you're not supposed to, you will actually be given a pour for that and penalized, not for your score, but for your life gauge. The technical term for this is what we call an excess pour. So it's actually good. It's not like part of the notes that it counts towards. It will not break your combo, but it's going to be counted as far as like your final note count and judgment counts. But for a perfect combo, you can't get anything but perfect greats or regular greats.
And if I remember correctly, the timing window, so a flashing great, if I remember correctly, it is 2 frames of a second, assuming 60 frames, correct?
Correct. Don't quote me on that, but I have to double check it.
And that's on both ends, so you could either be 2 frames early or 2 frames late. So it's a total 4-frame window, but that's still incredibly precise, especially when compared to newer music games that have come out in years since. Also, in chat, Kasaki was mentioning, I struggled enough to look at all the Yamoka stuff in the lens of Silent Hill, so that last song, Lion-Suki, came off as very silly, and yeah, Yamoka's work in BeatMania, not just 2DX, but also in Poppin' music, in some of the other BeatMania games, it is honestly all over the place. Like, I had no idea Yamoka did the work for Silent Hill until I got told later, just because I thought they were just another musician because of the work they did. Also, Cuvelia, I think you're right. I do believe Carlos is in Hurry Hurry as well. Part of the video for Hurry Hurry has a whole bunch of 2DX mascots and icons all gathered for a music festival.
You know, I just remembered I was thinking of playing that song earlier. I kept hovering over it in the warm-up, and I'm like, no, you should save this one for the marathon.
It's a very good song.
We're in the Carlos block, I suppose. Also, can I please get a time check whenever we have a chance?
I don't know what the delay is, but it looks like we're at about 37 minutes on the stream.
Awesome, thank you.
God, all of Masayoshi's drops are delightfully disgusting, and this is no exception. Yeah, I'm not sure if Carlos is in the video for this, but Cuvelia, I wouldn't doubt it either, because there's a bunch of kind of BeatMania and 2DX who's who showing up in this video.
And of course, this mascot girl who you saw in the Lion-Suki video, this is Tran. She's kind of one of the mascots of the series. She appears in a lot of things.
But yeah, she is definitely like the mascot for 2DX, and I'd say just like BeatMania at large. But I believe she was new as of 2DX, like she wasn't in 5-key, correct?
Correct. She was not in 5-key at all.
Yeah, Carlos is there. I'll be darned.
And of course, we have a lot of other, I believe, mascots and things we see in this music video as well. Like I see nods to a lot of other songs and artwork that we've seen, and well, we might not see them in this run, but a lot of just different artwork nods to other songs throughout the series and other mascots and, you know, characters we see throughout the music video. So it's kind of just a throwback to all of them.
Yeah, Hurry Hurry was part of Rootage, which was the 20th anniversary of 2DX. So a lot of songs and music videos in Rootage were all just like throwbacks and send up to the history of the game. And yet another AAA, and I believe a PB as well. Yeah, +4. Incredible stuff from Sparko. Ooh, we've got some Onoken on deck.
I was about to say, my dear. So clearly Sparko's making me happy with this because Onoken is one of my favorite artists in the series, and Onoken is notable as a artist because they got their start actually making fan content for 2DX. For those who don't know, just like with DDR, how there's StepMania and a bunch of fan content out there where you can make your own custom note charts, mainly in Japan, but other areas as well. Fans will do the same thing where they will chart and make their own songs for the game, and they can be played through simulators. Onoken got his start musically by making songs for what are called BMS files for fans and for simulators. They've gone on since to be a very accomplished music producer and have worked with the likes of Sega. They've obviously done work here with Konami. They have a lot of really good music, and they specialize in a genre of music called artcore.
Now, a lot of custom content that you'll see, just to lean on an example, for StepMania and DDR, usually is existing music, and it just has new step charts being made. But in the case of the BMS community, oftentimes not only is it completely new music, there'll also be custom videos for it as well. There are some folks that, instead of playing quote-unquote official 2DX, they mainly play BMS, and they're not really missing out on anything. If anything, there's a completely separate world of content for grabs in the BMS community. And they've gotten so professional and accomplished that in recent years, one of the major yearly content creation events that the BMS community does, BeatMania Fighters or BOF, is kind of a recruiting ground for folks that do well in that contest, often get scouted by BeatMania and other companies who are like, hey, why don't you make music in our game?
Exactly. And a lot of the other more recent artists, especially what you see like Sound Voltex in particular, for those who might be, you know, also players, that a lot of their talent comes from those musicians of trials and just being scouted out.
Yeah, in fact,
like Nora
the first
2R.
version of Sound Voltex was like a vast majority of the new talent in Sound Voltex was directly drawn from the BMS community.
Yep. And as well, since it recently celebrated a very big anniversary, the artist of Bass Kick Kick, Nora 2R, also scouted the same way. It was a BMS song as well.
All right, gonna need some help again here on this one. A $20 donation.
Oh, I'm here for this.
I don't know. Someone by the name of Cold X. I don't know.
Ah, weird.
Yeah, who is that guy? Seriously.
I've never heard that name before. Does anyone here know who that is?
Nope, can't help you. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're just moving on. Don't worry. No.
No. Okay. So I had to challenge Sparkover, as I mentioned it before, and I do want to show this because it's kind of a throwback to the old days of 2DX. But Sparkover, I want you to go play an Era Nostalgia Mix another for me.
Okay. Found the style. I was going to say I don't remember where it is, but I found it.
Yeah, it's really hard to miss this one. So this is by an artist who's graduated from the series, but he's a favorite of mine. Taku Sakakibara, I believe is how you pronounce his name, better known as Taku.
Taku is absolutely one of the bedrocks of the BeatMania series for like the earlier years, hands down.
Yep, and Era and Another in particular, like you might know this song from DDR, especially if you played like old DDR, but older songs in 2DX were known for having Anothers, which were meant to be another difficulty initially, and Anothers, especially old ones, will sound different, and this is one of the prime examples of it.
Yeah, so it's more accurate to say that normal, hyper, another is not so much easy, normal, hard, but normal, hard, harder. And as Coca was just saying, sometimes anothers would be different. They would essentially be VIPs, remixes, by the artist. Not everything had anothers in earlier 2DX. In more recent years, it's kind of a default that a song will have all 3 difficulties. But for the first 6, 7, 8 iterations of the game, not everything had an another. But yeah, some of the anothers are incredibly different from their singles counterparts. They're either mega mixes, or they'll have completely different breakdowns or instrumental solos. It's one of the wild things about 2DX that really hasn't been done in any other music game.
Yep, and since we had brought it up earlier, Through the Fire and Flames, this is what I would consider to be the equivalent of it in terms of density and note streams.
Yeah, for the scales, yeah, you're right on the mark.
So when Grandpa says, thanks Through the Fire and Flames charts, this is what I think of. Now, unfortunately for us in the Infinitas community, a lot of Taku's music is locked out due to what's called Jazz Rack. But this is one of the songs that we are blessed to have in the game, and I'm very grateful we have it because it is an awesome song. And a very nice clear by Sparkover.
Fantastic work, Sparko.
Thank you. So, I don't know if any of y'all caught that in the middle where there was that scratch in the middle of nowhere and I just missed it.
Yeah,
I was grabbing a hat.
Grabbing a hat.
I was grabbing my hat.
Yep, hat mode.
For rapid BPM changes, it's either you can lower what's called your shutter, so the area at the top of the playfield, that can be lowered so that you have a smaller playfield, or there's always a hat modifier. You just have a hat on and you lean down a little bit and suddenly you have a lower playfield.
Yep. Or you do what us really old players do, and you do what's called towel mode, where you would literally place a towel on the monitor of the arcade machine to cover the area that you wanted to, and then when you didn't need it anymore, just rip it off.
So, and again, for that last song, thank you, Cold Cut, whomever you are. Thank you for that donation.
Thank you,
thank you, sir.
In chat.
And jokes aside, thank you folks for being here and for donating so far. I know that we are all here to help out Happy Bear Lives. Whether you're able to donate or you're just hanging out in chat or helping spread the word about this event, thank you all so much for being here. Give yourselves the credit that you deserve.
So getting right back to Lapix, we had mentioned this track earlier. This is Amazing Mirage. This was Lapix's debut into 2DX.
Yep, absolutely incredible.
Yep, and while we won't see any bears in this music video, we will see logs, we will see fire, we will see, well, Naruto S trying, at least, trying to be like Naruto, but not exactly succeeding.
We're gonna see the little ninja who could.
Yes, you did. Yeah, we have tappies.
But yeah, this video features the littlest ninja who could. Absolutely love this video.
So there you go. Since we do have tappies, you all can hear just how much and how furious keys can be in this game. It's one thing to see him on the screen, but it's another to actually hear a 2DX player's controller in action.
And it might also be a little intimidating, but it is worth remembering a lot of the difficulty and the charts that we've been playing tonight are well above what's expected. Again, 2DX has charts rated 1 through 12. 7s and higher are good enough to qualify for extra stage, to start unlocking things in the arcade. 7 used to be the highest difficulty in this game, and then this game has actually been re-rated multiple times. So there is lots of content, and there's even play modes dedicated at helping folks get into this game. So if this does look like something you might be interested in, please do not let the amazing play that Sparko's doing potentially scare you.
Nice clear. Good job.
New lamp day.
New lamp day indeed. It's like leg day, but without the cramps.
And when we're talking about lamps, by the way, to clarify that term, so when we're on the song wheel, you'll notice next to the song titles, there are these different, colored lamps. Depending on what color that lamp is determines what kind of a clear you've had on it, whether you cleared it normally, if you've cleared it with hard gauge, which is like the regular groove gauge, but, harder, and so on. So in addition to getting some PB, Sparko's also been upgrading the lamps that she has had on some of these songs, which is incredible.
Yep.
I don't know what this is like. I'm scared.
Oh, are we gonna you're gonna spend some money to play some Legendaria for us? Wow,
Tell everybody about leg day.
All right, so this requires some explanation. Yep, so we're going to use an Eldisk here to play this chart. So there is a difficulty that is harder than another in this game. It's what's called Legendaria.
Another was already harder. How can there be harderer?
Well, just like with DDR, there are challenge charts, but unlike challenge in DDR, Legendary difficulty in arcade at least requires something called V-Discs, and you get V-Discs by doing premium starts. In 2DX Infinitas, you get L-Discs to play Legendaria charts. And you spend 1 L-Disc to play a chart. So in order to get L-Discs, you have to get what are called Infinitas tickets, and you can trade 1 in for 5 L-Discs. So, and Infinitas tickets, it's worth noting, do cost money to obtain. So the fact that Sparkover is playing this for us and spending money for us is kind of a big deal.
Much like L-Discs, you can get tickets just by playing every day, but also, much like in the arcade, typically you get L-Discs by spending an extra premium currency in addition to playing on a daily basis. So no matter how you're playing the game, playing Legendarias is a little bit, quote-unquote, riskier or more challenging, not only because of the charts being harder, there is literally more resource investment on your part just to be able to play them.
Yep. And Legendarias, as Shinji said, these charts are harder, they're faster, they're going to be more dense, there's going to be more technical patterns to think about. So this is truly challenging, and if you notice, the group gauge has changed for Sparkover here. He's using what's called Assisted Easy, which not only penalizes her less for making mistakes, it also causes her gauge to rise faster than normal, and lowers the passing threshold from 80 to 60%.
Now, even if Sparko were to fail this, any scoring that she gets on it will still be saved. So it's not like you have to pass the song in order to save your score or what play data you have on it. It's just for the sake of lamps and potentially clearing it. That's all that Groove Gauge cares about.
Correct.
And not all Legendarias are 12s. Like, yes, the game is 1 through 12. So you would think that most Legendarias are 12s. And you're right on that front. But not all of them are. No. Oftentimes, some older songs where their anothers were only like level 8 or level 9s, they'll get a Legendaria that is a level 10. And it's usually just adding more charting to a song. It just tends to be, well, above and beyond what you would expect to begin with.
And a solid 8. Yeah, but good try though, Sparko. It's still a respectable score. Yep, so of course the game is kind of mean and bougie when you fail out on the song, but that's okay.
Like, where are your manners? Excuse me, I'm offended. Why would you boo me? I'm just doing my best out here, you know?
But yeah, anytime you see like anytime you see one of the songs in the song wheel here that has like that rainbow panel to it, that's indicating a Legendaria chart. And now going right back to Juke Beats, I believe. We're going with 1116 by Dust Up.
Yep, this was one of the U-Beat crossovers.
So U-Beat is one of the games that they actually have localized and released here in the United States. I know you can get it for like Apple devices if you have like an iPad.
In fact, it recently had a complete reworking in regards to how that works in terms of unlocking content in charts. It's actually vastly improved and was also unexpected. Speaking of like unexpected, a lot of these clients, so the Infinitas client that Sparko's playing on, that's the Kanast client or Konami Game Station PC home clients. In the past couple of years, we've actually seen Kanast clients for a lot of games, not just 2DX come out, which has been very exciting.
Yep, we've seen DDR make its long-awaited re-debut on PC. We also have Poppin' Music with Poppin' Music Lively. We have Gated Aura. We have Poppin' or it's mentioned Poppin' Music. My bad. My old man brain striking again. You have Sound Voltex, and not just like any version. Like we have the current one, which I believe is Exceed Gear, if I'm not mistaken.
There's clients. There's Gitadora, Sound Voltex, Poppin', 2DX, DDR, and Nostalgia.
Yep, so you can play a lot of these games at home. So even if you don't live near like around one or an arcade that has these, if you want to try the real thing at home and are willing to shell out the money to do so, you can absolutely do it.
Yeah, all of these clients, they do have a monthly fee in order to be able to play them, but they also all have a demo mode as well. So just from a technical perspective, you want to make sure your PC can run them, the controller setup that you're using works. All of these are literally, cost-free to try out. And then if it's going to be your main way of playing the game, it's incredible because for years before these clients were a thing, there really wasn't an easy way for folks around the world to be able to play these games. And since these clients have come out in the past 5 years, that's incredibly increased the amount of access folks have.
And Sparkover cashing in with another solid AA clear on that, so good job.
Woo. Oh, may I ask for one more time check on us here, since I know we're probably getting close to wrapping up here.
Alrighty. I would say if you can, maybe show off a multi-spin scratch, because that's another new type that literally just got recently introduced.
Well, hello then.
And here we go with Tomahawk. So this is from 2DX28. This is Cast Hour. This features a multi-spin scratch, or MSS. Now, multi-spin scratches take the concept of hold notes for scratches, but takes them to another level, where you will have to spin in one direction, then it's going to have a break, and then she's going to have to spin and hold in the opposite direction.
So for a traditional hold note or backspin for scratches is you would just have to keep spinning in the same direction until the end of the note. With the multi-spins, in the chain of you having to continue spinning, it'll force you to change directions. It just looks like another bar in the length of the charge note, but it's surprisingly easy to execute. I thought, or at least for me anyways, I thought they were going to be mentally a lot more of a hurdle to get over. But so far, all the charts that I've encountered them in, they've been a ton of fun to execute.
Yep, there we go. There was one of them. Now, for me as a singles player, because that's primarily what I play, like, I'm fine if it's just the multi-spin scratch, but now when you start to mix notes, and now it's like, okay, I need to actually make some new mental pathways here.
Yeah, that is something I keep forgetting. So, right now, Sparko is playing singles in 2DX. So, on the arcade machine, there are two sets of controls. There's the 7 keys and turntable on the left side, and then there's, a second one for player 2 on the right. Much like with Dance Dance Revolution or Pump It Up, how there's a doubles mode, you can also play doubles in 2DX, which is what I play because
you have very amazing and very different brain spiders, as you put it.
Yeah. But for songs that go really in on turntable, they tend to be a lot trickier on singles, and I wouldn't say easier, but less irritating to play, I think is the polite way to put it for doubles.
And of course, Sparkover coming in real nice here, right behind her PB. Gonna probably be tuning in right at a solid AA on this. Yeah, there we go. There's the threshold. Very nicely done, dear.
Incredible.
Thank you. Song is hard.
I mean, it's Camellia, and Camellia tends to be on the harder end of the spectrum.
Mm-hmm. And I think, look at the time, we got time for maybe 2 more, is what I would say.
All right. Well, I know what my last song is. I always know what my last song is, but the second last song, you spend way too much time scrolling for it, and then you don't get there at all. But I have an idea. This baby.
Ah, yes. Oh, we're going for the spicy version. We're going another. All right.
Ooh.
Oops.
Did you meant to do hyper? Or
Oops, in quotation marks.
Oh.
So this song has a special place in my heart. So this was like the first really like exclusive song to Infinitas. Like there is Eyes Long version, but in terms of like brand new songs, this was one of the first that was exclusive to the Infinitas client. Over the past couple of years, on the launch anniversary date, which is August 8th, because, infinity symbol, we've seen new exclusives come out. And this year, we didn't just have 1, but we had 3.
Yep.
But a couple of years ago, when the client relaunched to its 2.0 status, this was the exclusive kind of like preview or exclusive song for Infinitas. Incredible song by Humor.
Yep, I know his name looks a little weird to see there, but it's actually pronounced Humor. And yeah, Rejection Girl, rock solid song. It's easily one of my favorite songs in the game. For a long time, the only way you could play this was by playing Infinitas. They wouldn't be until the end of Distrover, or 27th version's lifestyle, or excuse me, 28th, Distrover's life cycle, that we would actually see the song get transitioned into arcades. And then, as is tradition, when the Infinitas exclusive song moves into arcades, then Infinitas gets a new exclusive.
And it's roughly 1 year that it'll be exclusive to the client.
Mm-hmm. And now there is a gimmick with this. When I mentioned this chart was spicy, I meant it. We're going to have a whole slew of charge notes here in a matter of seconds, and it comes right about now. There it is. Just the entire rain of charge notes.
Look at all those noodles.
Yep, all those long, spicy noodles.
Yeah, charge notes are often nicknamed noodles by the Asian community, and rightfully so, because they're long and they're spicy.
Just shy of the clear on that one, but still very
Tricky.
solid attempt.
The big pile of noodles, I just can't handle that.
Yeah, just a little too many carbs.
It's all right.
Absolute popcorn humor, and like again for the first exclusive we had for Infinitas, honestly, like just kind of mind blowing.
So coming up on our final stage here, this is Sparkover's closer out of her set. It's Do It Amasite by Miyuke. So Shinji, you want to kind of take over this one because I'm not the best when it comes to Miyuke.
So yeah, the song is the play on words for saying "you're welcome" in Japanese, "do atashimashite," hence the genre being "you're welcome." And the song's a bop. It's originally from Sound Voltex, and luckily we have it in Infinitas and just 2DX in general because super fun song. A lot of quick like 3-note triplets that could, from a treading perspective, easily be much more of a nightmare to execute, but just a fun chart to play. Super fun song. Like, I have a different song myself as my closer whenever I play 2DX, but yeah, I wouldn't bat an eye at this being someone else's closer because yeah, song's incredible, good vibes all around.
And of course, it's using its music video and kind of borrowing stylistically from Bistrover, which was the 28th version of the game. And Bistrover as a version was all about flying around and traveling and food in particular. The Bistro landing extra stage system, a lot of fun, a lot of really good music in that, which we're now finally starting to get through the newer song packs for the game. And just a lot of just really cool visuals. Like they really kind of kicked back and went with a really lighthearted version of the game during that generation.
Yeah, something that we haven't mentioned. So whatever's currently out in the arcade, let's say that's N, typically Infinitas and the other Canos clients for that matter, will usually see content that is N-3. So right now we have E-Polis, which is the 31st version of the game. We're just starting to see 27th and 28th version content start showing up in Infinitas. There's a roughly like 3-year delay.
Yep, so 27 would be Heroic first, and then 28 would be Bistrover. And then eventually, we're going to, once the next version comes out, then we'll move on to 29, which is Cast Hour.
And I know you said that, or I should say that I was saying that this song is really good vibes. And speaking of good vibes, again, thank you all so much for having us here. I do see a few folks in chat have been enjoying the showcase. But again, thank you all so much for making us a part of your end of the week, everybody. Really do appreciate it.
And Sparkover coming into land with one final A to close out the night, so very good.
You know, when I was making up the bear block, it didn't even occur to me that like anything with the Bistrover like default video would also be bear themed and also kind of flying themed. So, you know,
oh my God, you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
How did that slip all of our minds? Holy heck.
It was only when y'all were talking about it, I'm like, wait a second, this is appropriate. But you know what? As a closer, it's appropriate too. Yeah, that's about all I got. Thank you so much, of course, you two, for joining me again on another lovely block. Thank you for the lovely donations, and yeah, it was a good time.
Always happy to have your back for you, Sparkover.
Yeah, I can definitely echo that. And once more, for folks watching, if you do have any questions about 2DX or BeatMania in general, please do not hesitate to reach out with us as questions, be it now or in the future. Again, Cold Cuts, Sparko, myself, we actively do try to help folks get into these games in the community. So if you're watching this on the VOD or otherwise watching it later and you're curious about things, do not hesitate to slip into our DMs.
Yeah, by all means, reach out to us. We're here to help folks. We'd love to help new players and help people get into the game. So hopefully we'll see you all playing some 2DX later and slapping some keys.
All right, thank you all, Sparko, Coldex, and Shinji. I will figure that name. I don't know how to, but I appreciate. Thank you all for being here. We are gonna head back to the intermission for a moment before our last game of the night. Super Lesbian Animal RPG. Some of you may have heard this game before. It's a wonderful RPG. We will be ready to go with that shortly. Thank you all for joining us here, and we'll be back in just a moment.